Last week we crushed it, the week before we crushed it, and let's see if we can do it again. Ladies and gentlemen, these are my NFL DFS picks for week 8. We're concentrating on contrarian picks, GPP picks, and punt plays, those less obvious picks for DraftKings tournaments. Let's go straight to the quarterbacks. I'm targeting about 3.5 quarterbacks this week, and the first guy I'm going to target is Lamar Jackson. Terrible matchup, but he can still do it on the ground. He's had a disappointing year as far as redraft fantasy goes, and so just not as hot. Remember last year, over half the time you were picking Lamar Jackson on DraftKings, he was just that good. But this year, it's just really not as popular as a play, and especially this game against the Steelers, going up against the best defense. But we've seen that even against good defenses, he can still get you 70 plus rush yards. And what I'm hoping for is some rushing touchdowns, or maybe even break that 100 rush yard barrier and get you those +3 bonus points. It's going to be tough though, and the price isn't great. I just feel like he's going to be contrarian enough for me to pick him in at least 1 or 2 lineups. My next guy is going to be Joe Burrow. Only reason I hate him this week is because we picked him last week, right? And he absolutely blew up. He was the best value quarterback last week. He did amazing. 400 pass yards. I mean, it was just insane. 34 rushing yards. And what did he get? Did he get 4 or 5? He got 4 total touchdowns. So just an insane performance. And because of that, because everyone knows who he is, he's on everyone's radar, he will not be a contrarian this week. And so that's the only reason I don't like him. Actually, he's not to be trusted this week. The matchup is great. The upside is there. The price is great. But as far as his floor, it's really not there. He's missing a lot of offensive linemen, missing Joe Mixon, which doesn't do too much. But still, the Bengals could get crushed this game. This could be the best defensive performance by the Titans. Now, I don't think that will happen, but everything's a risk, right? Everything's a ceiling, a floor, everything there's a percentage chance of happening. And I just think there's a realistic percent chance the Bengals get blown out the water and get dominated on all 3 phases of the game. Now, that could happen. Titans defense has not been good. And they might be missing some players. And even if they have all their players healthy, they haven't been able to put it together. So just wanted to say that there is some caution with picking Burrow. He won't be contrarian, and the Titans might crush them. Also, could be a little bit of a windy game. Nothing to worry about at the moment, but if winds do pick up, that's also another factor. Cam Newton going up against the Bills. This is my weekly dumb pick. Now, the Patriots have definitely been trying to ship Stephon Gilmore. Patriots declared Julian Edelman out, N'Keal Harry out. They're a mess. The dynasty has turned into a travesty, and it's just a bad team and this and that. Okay, I get all that. But are you really, really ready to count out the Patriots? Okay, yeah, you probably are. But there's that sliver of hope. They can pull off an upset here. Now, actually, I'm not that scared of this pick, and I know it's dumb. And, you know, I come in here every week and give you my dumb, crazy picks. And I think about 60% of the time they've panned out, which is insane when you pick someone that's just totally crazy and, you know, you're afraid to look like a complete clown on YouTube. And this one is along those lines. But actually, my main concern is that it's not going to be a shootout. And that's my main concern here. So we're going to pretty much 100% rely on Cam's rushing ability. He's going to need to get some rush yards and definitely some rushing touchdowns. So that's going to be a big problem. It's going to be very unlikely that that's going to happen. But nonetheless, we have a quarterback who's done it? That's one thing I always look at. Does he have that upside? Has he shown that he has that upside? So at least he's done it. He's been the QB to win you $1 million in DFS. He's been the QB1 before in his career. He's been a top 4 quarterback several weeks, and that's what we need. So if Cam can somehow be a top 4 quarterback for the main slate, boom, that's going to hit right there. And as far as ownership, I think this is going to be super contrarian because we have a smarter pick here. This one's much smarter. It's much more obvious. It's still cheap and contrarian, and that's going to be Jimmy Garoppolo. With Deebo Samuel out, I think some people will be off of him. Oh, who's he going to throw to? This and that. We don't know what the Niners are going to do, but I'm very confident the Niners will put up points, keep this game at least somewhat close against the Seahawks' terrible, terrible defense. And the Seahawks' pass defense is much worse. They have no cornerbacks that can cover anybody. And so Kittle can go off, Ayuk can go off, maybe a little Trent Taylor, and maybe a little bit of Kendrick Bourne, who we'll talk about. So Jimmy Garoppolo, price is beautiful, matchup is beautiful, ownership, won't be so contrarian like Cam Newton, but might be, it just won't be too popular, I would say. Nonetheless, he is my favorite punt play at quarterback, and I think he's fairly smart pick for his price. And the Seahawks, by the way, allow the most points to quarterbacks, if that wasn't already obvious. Now for quarterbacks, I'm okay with them. I'm sort of confident with the quarterbacks this week, and I'm okay with that. As far as running backs, I'm very confident in my running back picks, but the next one we'll get to wide receivers. I don't know what the heck's going to happen. So with wide receivers, go ahead and pick your stack. If you're going with Herbert, who's a great play, might want to go with Keenan Allen or Mike Williams, whatever you do, maybe even Hunter Henry. So get your stack going in these tournaments, in these GPPs. And then after that, you might want to pick some contrarian picks, some punt plays, some crazy wide receivers, because I feel like it's going to be some crazy wide receivers finishing atop of the list. Last week, it was definitely Devontae Adams and then Lockett. Not a huge surprise, especially Adams, who I talked about. And Lockett wasn't a big surprise either. He did much better than we all thought. That was the surprise. But it's not a surprise that Lockett is in the millionaire lineup. But I'm saying this week, we might see a couple obvious wide receivers. And we're probably going to see a couple really crazy wide receivers, maybe even some minimum price guys, some guys that are 4,000 or less. So I just want to talk about overall strategy. For running backs, my number 1 ranked running back is Derrick Henry. He's priced at 8,000 going against the Bengals. High floor, high ceiling, good game script proof, weather proof. Everything is here for Derrick Henry, and good luck trying to stop him when you got Ryan Tannehill at quarterback and weapons he can throw to. He's got about 4 or 5 weapons he can throw to in the pass game, so not looking good for the Bengals. Slight surprise here, maybe. My number 2 ranked running back is going to be Kareem Hunt, priced at only 6,900, going against the Las Vegas Raiders. It's going to be a windy game. Kareem Hunt, basically same thing as Henry. We got a guy who's an amazing pass catcher, amazing runner, and he's got the best guy calling the shots here, Kevin Stefanski, and the price is amazing. So what I love about Kareem Hunt is, I know Chubb is out, but even when Chubb is in, Kareem Hunt gets it done. Look, he had his best game against the Bengals when Chubb was healthy, and Chubb was basically getting all the snaps in the first half, and so he's got 24.1. I smell a season high of fantasy points this game, week 8 against the Raiders, 24.1. He had week 2. I really think he's going to get more than 24.1 in week 8. So whether Chubb is playing, whether he's not able to run it, he can catch the ball. He catches touchdowns. He gets red zone targets, goal line carries, just everything He's just able to, if he's not able to do it one way, he's able to do it another way. And he is the workhorse now that Chubb is out. The price, frankly, is incorrect. It's glitchy, if I were to really say anything. And that's where we can find value. Now, I mean, I'm not saying the price is stupid, like what DraftKings is doing is like it's uncalled for. No, he really isn't. He hasn't blown up this year. He's been very good, very consistent, but he hasn't blown up. And so the price, yeah, I mean, I do get it, but I'm just saying for this week, the price is wrong. He should be more of about $900 more expensive. So we're getting a huge discount on my top 2 running back. And if he's not top 2, you know, and I'm ranking him too high and other people rank him too low, he's top 3 or top 4 on everyone's rankings this week. There's no doubt about that, whether you put Dalvin Cook ahead or not. Now, I don't really trust Dalvin Cook this game, but when I see that questionable tag, that's really just bogus. He's going to play. Like over 99% chance he'll play. But when I see this questionable tag, I get more excited because I feel like less people will pick him. And so I did want to point that out. So it'll be slightly more contrarian than he usually would be just because he has a red Q next to his name. Some more value picks. Josh Jacobs had a bad game last week. But against the Browns, he'll probably bounce back. Only 6,200. Jamal Williams. This guy's could be top 5 running back. Right now, I had him ranked as a top 5 running back. And he's, if I change my rankings, I am not ranking him under any lower than RB7. That's how much faith I got in Jamal Williams. Good matchup against the Vikings. And it could be a windy game. So Aaron Rodgers could cut through the wind. He's got a good arm. Excellent quarterback. Excellent pass thrower. But a little bit less passing, maybe a little bit shorter passes. Jamal Williams. And you know what, guys? A.J. Dillon, I believe, has 0 targets on the year. Even last week, 0 targets. So Jamal Williams, workhorse running back. Great team. Great matchup. And it could be a little bit windy. Oh my gosh, this is an incredible running back. And now that his price is higher, maybe people will be less on him. I don't know. But he did great last week. Got us 21.4 points. And he was super cheap. What was he like? He was 4,000. He was minimum price last week. Moving on, I got Mr. J, Mr. K, Mr. Dobbins, priced at 4,600. The matchup sucks. And, you know, I always say this on a lot of these videos. I'm very fortunate to be able to talk to the fantasy community and get the public perception, how people are feeling. I didn't know that many people hate J.K. Dobbins, since a lot of people make fun of me for having him in Dynasty, and people are saying he sucks, this and that. I completely disagree. I think he's the best running back on the Ravens. Gus Edwards, amazing runner, but doesn't catch the ball. Mark Ingram, well, he's doubtful, but he's, you know, past his prime. He's basically done. And J.K. Dobbins is the best running back on the Ravens. If you're looking for a cheap option, this is the guy to go to. Let me put it like this. Is he contrarian? Sorta. But if he were to play like the Raiders or the Browns or maybe even the Lions, if he were to play a terrible rush defense and had a good matchup, he would be heavily rostered, heavily owned in a lot of these entries. But because he's going up against the Steelers, he's going to be slightly contrarian, and it's going to be hard to find a better running back at this price range. But I do have one more for you, and that's LaMichael Pirine of the New York Jets. Now, we have no faith in the Jets. Matchup, not so bad. Game script is okay. Frank Gore, maybe not 100%. He is questionable. But Pirine is getting more than 2/3 of the snaps at the running back position. And he's also getting all the work in the pass game as far as the running back position goes. 3 targets this past week, another 3 targets the week before. Frank Gore, I don't know. We'll look that up. I think he's got about 0 targets the past 2 weeks. And so, hey, garbage time is the same amount of points. Now, the touchdowns are going to be hard to come by. That's for sure. But as far as garbage time and snaps and getting touches and opportunities, he will get them. And basically what I'm trying to say, his price tag is $4,300. very, very cheap. And I'm curious to just double check what Frank Gore is in terms of targets. So he has got 0 targets this past week, but he got 4 targets against Miami. Let's just say he's not going to get too many targets. I think about 0 if he does even play week 8 against the Chiefs. Well, I guess I could talk about one more punt is A.J. Dillon. I don't have much confidence in this pick, but there is potential for this game to be extremely lopsided. And come garbage time, I think we'll see a lot of A.J. Dillon. Now, he hasn't got any more than 5 carries in a game. Matter of fact, 5 touches in a game because he's got 0 targets. All right, I'm double checking. Yeah, 0 targets. So not much faith, but I did want to throw just a punt minimum price player out there for you. And some people, I had him in one lineup last week, didn't work out. But some people I think picked him last week, hurt their feelings, and won't pick him this week. And so if you want a punt play, minimum price running back play that no one else is going to pick, that's going to be A.J. Dillon. Not much confidence in that, though. As far as wide receivers, I'm just going to be frank. I'm not too confident in these picks. Get your stack and then pick 2 other guys, maybe some punts, focus on the other positions, and just know this one's just going to be a crapshoot. That's how I feel. Maybe you feel differently. Maybe I'm wrong. That's just how it is for me. That's how I assess this. And so I'll go over some cool plays that I think will stand out here. Like Justin Jefferson, for instance, is 6,500. Absolutely love him. I think it's a smart pick. I think Jair Alexander is going to shadow Adam Thielen, and it's not going to be a good day for Mr. Thielen. But at that same price point, we can go with Pooper Pup, who's been absolute disappointment this year. But this matchup against the Dolphins, I think if the Dolphins can somehow contain Henderson and Malcolm Brown, they'll go back to their bread and butter last year, which was Cooper Kupp, who absolutely beasted when he did play the last 2 years, actually, 2018 and 2019. He was amazing. And if he goes back to the slot, I think he's going to just have a good day. And it's going to be more contrarian. I think people will pick Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson is a GPP all-star. He's a smart pick. You got Jair Alexander covering the other guy. And then, boom, we pick Mr. Pooper Pup. And same price. And there's going to be less owned. That's just the way it goes. That's how you do GPPs. I don't know what the heck's going on here with Keenan Allen's price. He's one of the best wide receivers in the league. He's been putting up fantasy points. I don't even know. I don't understand it. And I don't know. Don't even try to explain this to me. I don't know what's going on. Is it because he got hurt against the Saints? I don't know. But his price is only $6,200. He's an absolute baller. Like, yeah, they're going to put their best cornerback. The Broncos are going to put their best cornerback on him, but you won't be able to stop him. You can't do it, especially with Herbert spreading the ball. Like, who are you going to defend? I don't understand that price tag. But if I found him, other people will as well. So will Keenan Allen be contrarian? Absolutely not. Last week it was Boyd, and this week I love T. Higgins, priced at only $5,600 going against the Titans. I think he's going to be even better. Look at this, guys. 20 points, basically, average the last 2 games. That's insane. And why not another 20-point performance against the Titans? Good price tag right there. And as far as GPPs, can we find a more inconsistent, a more volatile, a more boom or bust wide receiver than BMW Big Mike Williams? Ladies and gentlemen, he got 1 fantasy point last week. Week before that, 30 fantasy points. Week before that, 2 fantasy points. Like, it's crazy. He goes up and down, and this is exactly what we like in GPPs, taking a risk. And you know what's even better? He's only 4,400, so we'll be able to pick some really good players at other positions, like a Lamar Jackson, like the Chiefs defense, like the other one, Derrick Henry, Kareem Hunt, so on and so forth. Or if you're more of a Kamara guy, I understand he's expensive as well. What do we got here? All right, now this is the part where it gets really funky, but I'm gonna I'm going to put in a punt. Whether it's Mike Williams at 4,400 or a wide receiver cheaper than that, I'm going to have one or two wide receiver punts in a lot of my lineups. So let's start off with the first one. That's Jacoby Myers of the New England Patriots. N'Keal Harry is out, Julian Edelman is out, and Jacoby Myers projected to get the most points out of that wide receiver position for the New England Patriots this week. And we got Kendrick Bourne, more of the traditional wide receiver, which the Seahawks struggle covering. He's going to be starting for the 49ers. I think he'll do very well. What do I project? 5 receptions, 5 catches, about 50 yards, so 10 points. But if he does get in the end zone, we're looking at 17.1 fantasy points for Kendrick Bourne. It's a fairly conservative projection if you consider the game script and the matchup. Also, Seahawks best weather this week for a non-dome game. Weather is just absolutely beautiful in Seattle for week 8. And I got another one, right? Yeah, I mean, you could go with any Jets wide receiver, Braxton Berrios, Jeff Smith, who I'm kind of down on. But, if you're doing multiple entries, might as well, take your chances on one of those guys. My favorite one that I have a great gut feeling on that I'm actually probably going to be streaming in my redraft leagues is Denzel Mims. Basically minimum price, $3,200. Looked decent against the Bills, 7 targets, 4 receptions. Very good athlete. I love him in Dynasty. And really this year, maybe last year too, a good amount. But really this year, these wide receivers that are rookies don't look like rookies. And it's with just about every single one. Is Darnell Mooney a rookie? You got Darnell Mooney, Gabe Davis, CeeDee Lamb. My God. Jalen Reagor, if he's healthy. Denzel Mims. Justin Jefferson. How could I forget him? One of the best wide receivers this year. Like, what the heck is going on? I thought wide receiver rookies suck. Now, rookie tight ends still suck. That storyline still exists. That's going on strong every year and will continue. But I think this rookie wide receiver stigma is basically gone. Metcalf did okay last year. Deebo Samuel did okay last year. So, yeah, I mean, he's a rookie, but this year, that's a good thing. Like, rookie wide receivers do even better than the veterans. Like, what's going on here? All right, what are we talking about here? I just realized I totally geeked out, but it's so true and it's so crazy. And this storyline's only been existing for a year and a half, so it is what it is. There's so many tight end options, so I'm gonna point out 2 less obvious ones. Trey Burton. Well, now that I think about it, he did ball out last week, and I did have him in my GPPs, and he did very well. But still, Trey Burton is super cheap, worth considering. I'll go over a couple more cheap. Let's stay in this range here. I don't know why. I totally forgot that I had him. Like, that's the thing in GPPs. If they do good last week, I try to get off of them the next week because people pick them. That's really how it is. And let's just stick right here in this price point. Well, this guy's basically the same thing. Number 1 tight end for the Browns with Hooper out. He was actually the best tight end last week. Would put up 22 fantasy points. My God, 2 touchdowns. That's insane. Only priced at $3,200. Great matchup against the Raiders. And we got Irv Smith, $3,200. He's been pretty decent. Double-digit fantasy points his last 2 games. And I just came up with this nickname for this guy, A-OK. I'm not going to try to pronounce that. 2,800. If Fant is still banged up, if Tim Patrick is injured, this guy I don't think is a one-hit wonder. 6 targets week 6, 7 targets week 7. Maybe go with the 2 tight end formation. Use Fant and use A-OK. And get us some fantasy points. Even if it's garbage time, still count the same. For defenses, I'm targeting only 3 defenses this week. That's the Chiefs going up against the Jets. They're the most expensive, $4,500. And then we have the Saints going against the Bears with no Allen Robinson. Very, very sexy, $3,400. Low scoring game, also could be very windy in Chicago. And then we got the Bills going against the Patriots. 3,300. No Jules, no Nikhils. And the Bills defense, they're not that good, but lots of upside going against the Patriots, who haven't done much as of recent. And if you have to, if you really, you're doing multiple entries or you really want to punt, I will go through these really quick. Colts, 3,100. Titans, 3,000. Bears, and it could be a low scoring game, 2,800. Browns in a windy game, 2,600. They got good players, but haven't been able to put it together on defense. And the Dolphins, 2,400. If you absolutely need a punt, that's cheaper than the Bills. But like I said, I'm going Bills, I'm going Saints, and I'm going Chiefs. All right, guys, make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel. Subscribe to our second YouTube channel. Also, it's called Fantasy Couch Podcast, and it's free, easy to do. Lots of great content there and here. Of course, shout out to all the new Patreons. Thank you guys so much for supporting. Smash a thumbs up, guys. But if you disliked it, smash a thumbs down. Good luck this week. Let's keep winning.